Scrum is a framework for developing, delivering, and sustaining complex products. It all starts out with our stakeholders that have an idea about a product they want to develop. In Scrum, the product owner is empowered by the organization to manage the competing needs of our stakeholders and take in their ideas, requirements, and features and prioritize and order them in a list known as the product backlog. From here, the product owner works closely with the Scrum development team, a self-organizing and cross-functional team that has all of the necessary skill sets to take an idea or concept from the product backlog and convert it into a product increment. The product increment is a quality working product that is reviewed regularly by the stakeholders, and based on their feedback, the product owner then updates and reorders the product backlog items for the next iterations. These iterations are known as sprints. Sprints are time-boxed to 1 month or less, and most teams today run 2-week sprints. At the beginning of each sprint, the product owner and the Scrum development team go through sprint planning, where they determine the sprint goal and the high priority items from the product backlog that will help accomplish the goal. The development team then tasks out their work and create the sprint backlog, which describes the team's plan to accomplish the work. From this point on, the team works off of the sprint backlog, collaborating together to get things from not done to done as quickly and effectively as possible. To ensure that they are making forward progress towards the sprint goal, the Scrum development team has short daily planning meetings known as the Daily Scrum. Work on the sprint backlog continues until the sprint time box is over. At the end of the sprint, the team delivers a potentially shippable product increment that meets the team's definition of done and brings them closer towards the overall product vision. In the sprint review, the product owner and the Scrum development team ask the stakeholders for feedback. Here's what you asked us to build, and here's what we built. And here's what we're about to build next. Is this correct? Does it still reflect your needs? Based on the feedback, the product owner then reorders the product backlog for future sprints. This ensures that for each sprint, the Scrum development team is always working on the most valuable items and are regularly delivering value to the stakeholders in an iterative and incremental fashion. In addition to inspecting and adapting on the product increment in the sprint review, the Scrum team has a retrospective where they inspect and adapt on the process. How are we working together as a team? What can we do to improve? Any action items that come out of the retrospective get added to the sprint backlog. So in addition to developing the product increment during the sprint, the team also takes on continuous improvement initiatives to regularly work on and improve their processes. Also, throughout the sprint, the product owner and the Scrum development team progressively elaborate on the requirements in the product backlog and refine the product backlog items into smaller, clearer, and more refined items. This is an ongoing activity that happens throughout the sprint to ensure that the top of the product backlog is in good shape and consists of actionable product backlog items ready to be taken on in the next sprint. Last but not least, throughout this entire process, there's a Scrum Master who's a servant leader serving the broader organization, the product owner, and the Scrum development team in achieving their overall goals and objectives, and helping everyone continuously improve and become more effective. These 3 roles together are known as the Scrum Team. And that's Scrum as described by its 5 events, 3 artifacts, and 3 roles. You have the sprint itself, which is a container event consisting of the sprint planning meeting, the daily Scrum, the sprint review, and the sprint retrospective. We have our 3 artifacts, the product backlog, the sprint backlog, and the product increment. And we have the Scrum team consisting of 3 roles, the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the Scrum development team.